let's have a look at these form elements in detail now and think about what's the best way to try and validate them. Okay, and remember what we're trying to do is we're trying to ideally eliminate all invalid data on the client side. Quite often that's difficult to do. We try and get as close as possible to elimination as possible. So we know we can find our information here. Okay, your name must have at least 5 characters. Now, we could do that in a couple of ways. Okay, we could use regular expressions for this. We're going to take the JavaScript approach just because you're not used to coding in JavaScript. Okay, but as well as that, we could decide, do I check this after I leave this text box, or do I wait until I click this submit button at the end? Okay, in this case, I'm going to wait till the end. Maybe a little bit simpler sometimes. Okay, so at least 5 characters. Let me type in only 3 and we'll see what sort of error message might come up. Okay, so when I hit enter here, I'm going to move on to the next required form element. Okay, so the first one, name is required. Email, you can see I'm using HTML validation for that. Okay, so let's type equals email. Your password, at least 9 characters. Okay, so it's required. Please fill out this field. And we have to put in a strong password. Okay, so uppercase, lowercase letters, numeric digits, and non-alpha numeric characters. Okay, so at least 1 uppercase letter. Okay, I'm just going to type in 1 here. Okay, what's happened here? We have improved our background color here. Okay, so this is a bit of help message to tell us about our signal strength. Next part is at least 1 uppercase letter, at least 2 numbers. Okay, I type in the first number. That hasn't changed. Okay, so my password strength hasn't got stronger because of only 1 number in. If I put another number in, you can see it's improved here. Background color and the change in text tells us that. Okay, and then we have a symbol at, hash, or underscore. So I'm going to go for at here. Okay, almost there. Okay, so again, we're getting kind of light green. We're nearly there. And then finally, at least 9 characters. So there are 4, and then we can just do okay, that's 5 more characters. So there's 9 characters. We've got valid here, and notice that this has lit up here. Okay, this is now active. Maybe you didn't notice that. Let's come back here, refresh the page. Okay, and when we refresh the page, you can see clicking in there, but I can't type anything in there. Notice as well, when I refresh the page, phone number is grayed out. Okay, so this is disabled as well, and the credit card number is disabled as well, and the number text box is very small. Okay, so let's come back here. We're typing in something invalid in there, something that looks like an email address, and then something valid in here, A11 at AAAA. Okay, where are we going to go here? Let's put something different in here. Okay, so I am testing the confirm password at the end. Again, maybe I should do it straight away. A11 at AAAA. Hopefully that's the same thing. We can decide to do it or not. Okay, so once we've found a password in here, the confirm password opens up. Pick country. This is grayed out here. This is grayed out here as long as country isn't selected. So there could be more than that. Okay, so UK 44 plus 44, and then this becomes active. I can put a number in here. Okay, if I come back here, pick a country, you can see this is grayed out. I should really be clearing that. That would be a fairly straightforward thing to do. Okay, try to type in the letter R there. It wouldn't let me because it's a number text box. Okay, your donation amount between 0 and 1 million. Okay, excluding zeros. So smallest it could be is basically 1 cent. Okay, fairly mean. Okay, and then let's move on to credit card type. Until I pick one of these, this is grayed out. Okay, it's disabled. Okay, when I pick one of these, I then see that if I pick Visa, I should have 16 digits starting with 4. Okay, so let's just put in a number here. It's clearly invalid. Okay, so I hope I have the password done correctly. That's clearly invalid, and that's clearly invalid credit card number. So when I click the submit button, okay, I am going to run some JavaScript, and it's telling me here I have a problem here. Okay, my number it needs to start with a 4. Okay, 16 digits starting with 4. Okay, what about if it's 16 digits starting with a 5? 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4. Okay, that is too big. Let's try that. Okay, value must be less than or equal to 4. So you can see there what I've done here. This is the sort of message we get with a min or a max. Okay, so let's put something valid in here. 1, 1, 1, there's 4, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay. Now we're getting a message here about the first name. There should be 5 or more characters in your name. Okay, so notice I am stuck on this page. Okay, so the submit function has returned false. So a little bit like the local storage example. If your form validation date is invalid, we're stuck on the same page. It's only when it's valid that we wrote it to local storage. Okay, now possible invalid here would be to put a space at the beginning and then try something that clearly has more than 5 digits. Okay, but there's clearly space at the beginning. Okay, there should not be a blank space at the start of your name. Okay, so let's try a valid name instead. Mary Jo O'Reilly. Okay, so we want to thank this person in person, okay, using their first name, and you sort of have to make a guess here. Okay, is Joe part of the first name or the surname? It's really part of the first name. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to somehow display thank you Mary Jo on the second page. Okay, so that is our requirements here, isn't it? The donor's first name will appear in the second web page. Okay, so you can see with the specs often have to be really sort of dug into. It's not really the first name, it is the non-surname part of their name. Okay, so this looks okay, so let's check this form, and you can see we've gone on to the second page and both Mary Jo are coming in there. Okay, so if you think about this, how do we separate this bit from this bit here? What's between them? Okay, what character is between them? Space, isn't it? Okay, but there's another space in there. So do you remember from your Java programming, how do we search for a space? Okay, and where do we start the search from? These are things to think about. Okay, so there's a few things here we're not testing. We're not trying to validate until the very end. We click on the submit button. There's a few things we're testing here immediately. Okay, so immediately, as soon as we pick a country here, something is happening immediately. Okay, so there's an event here when we pick, when we change the option here. Okay, that's an on change. Okay, each time we type something in the password field, we are immediately, okay, we are finding out what string has been typed in so far and how strong the password is. Okay, so we're doing a lot of string manipulation here. We need to basically interrogate each character of the password and see which of the password strength requirements. Okay, so is a character uppercase or not? Is it numeric or not? Is it @ hash or or underscore. And is it anything else? Does it stipulate we have to have lowercase letters? It actually doesn't, but it'd be surprising if you didn't have those in the password. Okay. By contrast, your name is being done at the end when we click on the submit function. The submit button. Okay, so we are running JavaScript code in this case. Okay, we are just doing HTML validation here. Okay, a valid email address, donation amount. It's just straightforward HTML. There's no JavaScript needed for that. When we pick credit card type, okay, you can see that this form element is changing. Okay, well, it's not changing. It's a number text box all the time, but the range of values is changing. Okay, credit card numbers. Visa and MasterCard are fairly straightforward. Okay, they're allocated. Their allowed numbers are within a range. Okay, so Visas always start with 4. MasterCard between 5-1, 16 digits, and 5-5, 16 digits. Diners Club, a bit more complicated. Okay, numbers have to start with 36 or 38. So how do we deal with the 37s? That's a problem. American Express starts with 34 or 37. Okay, how do we deal with 35, 36 for American Express? So these are all things we need to solve programmatically, okay, using JavaScript. Okay, so I hope this has been helpful to you. All sorts of things to think about. This is not the only correct way to do it, but it's one way to do it. So okay, JavaScript is basically, you can think of it a little bit like the programming you learned in Java applied to web pages. Okay, and what's really important here is what events are going to spark off the running of the various JavaScript code blocks or functions that we've got. Okay, so these are all things to think about. First question is, what form elements do I need? Okay, the second question to ask yourself is, how much validation can I do just using the HTML text box type, min, max, and so on, all those form element properties you're familiar with. And then thirdly, if I really can't do it with HTML, I'm going to need to start doing it with JavaScript, where I need to be aware of all the various string functions that I've learned, and so on. How do I get the value from a text box? Okay, and that's going back to what you learned last semester with local storage.